Lecture 2.2 will be about some areas you can work with when optimizing the way we produce products in companies. We'll start out with product lifecycle assessment, which is a very useful tool. The product lifecycle approach looks at the environmental and social aspects and the impacts of a product or service across all stages of production and consumption, from design to disposal. So it means from you have a product, there's nothing, you create it, till the whole process, till its end of life, till it's finished. You look at all the steps in between. When assessing the life cycle, you look into and analyze and evaluate all steps in the process. Here are some headlines in a life cycle assessment. You look at the design of the product or service. You look at how you source the materials. You look at the production and the manufacturing, the whole process there. You look at the packaging you need for the product and the transportation of all steps of the transportation. You look at how it's being used. This is the consumption of the product. And finally, you look at the disposal and the end of the life product, just like the example with the computer mentioned in the last lecture. If you want more details, I really recommend that you read the pages in Giselle Weber's book that goes more in depth with product lifecycle assessment. A company that is using lifecycle assessment is IKEA, and I'll go more into IKEA as an example here. They are quite advanced in their sustainability work, and they are working on all relevant parts of the supply chain. Among other things, they actually work on other things as well on the CSR agenda. But he will use a few examples. This image is from their web page, and I really recommend that you go into ikea.com and find their sustainability pages. It's called People and Planet. Here you can find a lot of different aspects and details on how they work with sustainability. Here we'll use some examples from one of their reports. You can read one of their latest reports. The example we'll use here is in the product sustainability performance. The first orange box here is how IKEA will improve their product sustainability performance and the different tools they use. They use a sustainability scorecard, which helps the designers and technicians to assess and improve the sustainability of products. And they have some criteria to do just that. They have a materials guide that explain the sustainability performance of individual materials. They use the resource chain unit was also implemented to support the use of recycled materials and to reverse material flows. They also use a material risk council, so they assess all potential new materials from a safety, quality, and sustainability perspective. And finally, they use the life cycle assessment tool. When they, an example here is their sustainability product scorecard, one of their tools. And they have these 11 criteria you see here. First, they want to create more from less, so they will use fewer materials in their products. They will use renewable materials as much as possible. They will reuse and recycled materials. Materials should come from sustainable sources. They look at the recyclability at the end of the life of the product. Quality is an important criteria as well. They look at the transportation efficiency, the number of products that can be put in a container, for example. They look at the energy in the production. They look at the renewable energy in the production. They have a criteria about raw material utilization, so they use as much of the raw material as possible, not creating too much waste. And finally, they have a criteria talking about sustainability life at home. So they try to make products that enable the customers to reduce energy and water use or reduce the waste in their homes. This part of the IKEA's work with sustainable products do not focus so much on the social and the people dimension, but they have a lot about those topics. It's mentioned elsewhere in their sustainability reports. The next element we'll look into is eco-design. It's related to the product lifecycle assessment tool we've just been talking about. But eco-design concerns designing or redesigning a product or service to take into account the environmental and social impacts throughout its life cycle. And the best practices in eco-design involve rethinking the products and its function, reducing energy and material consumption, replacing harmful substances, selecting materials that can be recycled, designing the products so parts can be reused. It should be easy to take apart. The product should be easy to take apart also for recycling of materials, again like the computer example I mentioned earlier. Improve the product durability and ease of repair. So it shouldn't be complicated to fix a broken product. All these elements are also used in IKEA, and here's an example of a certain lamp. The creation of this lamp has used 75% less material than the previous lamp. It contains 35% reused or recycled materials and is 100% recyclable and easily stackable, making it more efficient to transportation. As you can tell, materials are an important part of designing eco-friendly products. So in product development and manufacturing, the materials used and the sourcing of them becomes a key ingredient when you want to do proper CSR sustainability work. The following aspects can be considered. Chemicals in the materials or chemicals used in the production of the materials. Environmental consideration when sourcing materials. Energy consumption in production and sourcing of the materials. With sourcing of the materials, I might add that it's how we do the materials. For instance, grow our cotton could be an example. You should consider other resources like water, for instance, that are used in production of the materials. There are social aspects in relation to the production of the materials, so that could be how the conditions of the workers, that they have some decent working conditions when they produce, for instance, our cotton in the fields where they grow the cotton, etc. You should consider using less material in the design of the products. You should consider reusability of the material. And finally, also consider the user-friendliness of the material. These were some of the elements we have picked out to tell you about the product lifecycle assessment, the eco-design, and the materials used. In the end of this lecture 2.2, I want to bring to your attention two other related concepts that deals with how we make and produce things. It's quite used in this whole agenda of CSR and sustainability work in businesses. The first one is the cradle-to-cradle concept. It is a concept developed by chemist Michael Braungart and architect William McDonough. those guys, they challenge the notion that human industry must damage the world. They say it doesn't have to be that way. We can do it differently. So instead, they look to nature and find a production system which mimics nature's model to our commercial and environmental advantage. So it's a system where waste equals food. Like they say, nature doesn't produce waste. There's no waste in nature. It doesn't make sense. It always goes into cycles. But this was one of the concepts you could investigate further. The other concept that is pretty big on this agenda is the whole circular economy thinking. This is the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, is one of the leading organizations that in collaboration with universities, companies, industries, consultants and other organizations promotes the circular economy thinking. And the concept is stated here. It's a generic term for an economy that is regenerative by design. So materials flows are of two types. There's a biological material designed to re-enter the biosphere, and the technical materials designed to circulate with minimal loss of quality, in turn in training the shifts towards an economy ultimately powered by renewable energy. So these two concepts are worth looking more into if you're interested in this whole circular or this whole way of thinking in circles when it comes to production. With this, we conclude this lecture 2.2, and here's a bibliography stating that we have used in this lecture.